My name is Gryffiti, the second cousin of Bad Luck Brian. You see the resemblance, right? So, this is an odd topic for a video, but it's something that has really been affecting me recently as I've come back to being a content creator. And it all starts with one question. What the hell happened to stock photos? If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me inform you. Stock photos are pictures you can use either for free or by purchasing a license to use the content. Often they are textures or landscapes or things that you could use to make other things. For example, in my work of art thumbnails I've made in the past, many of the elements are stock assets. My wallpaper I use in the desk shot is made almost entirely of stock assets that I combined together until I thought it looked good. Okay, Gryffiti, that sounds well and good, but what's the problem? I was getting to it! Gosh! Can I bury the lead for a sec? Recently, I've noticed as I've been looking for assets that I'm having a much harder time finding free ones. Now, listen. I just graduated college, so needless to say, I'm not exactly swimming in the dough, as it were. So I've relied on a lot of free asset packs for most of my stuff, even way back when I first posted on this channel consistently. And coming back to doing content again was cool because I had the knowledge from my numerous production classes and a history of finding free assets to use. So I went back and found my old bookmarks and they're dead. Yeah, so many of them straight up don't exist anymore, but even worse than that, some of them have been revived, but not as they were before. Because ladies and gentlemen, we live in the age of... Yeah, almost all stock asset libraries are subscriptions now. And not just any subscriptions, f***ing ridiculous ones. Yeah, Adobe stock, $30 a month. Oh, to download any of the assets you want to use, right? No, of course not. What do you think they're running a charity? No, you can get 10 photos or one singular video a month. That's one video for $30. Oh, okay, that's insane. So I guess let's look at another source, iStock. Let's say that I make a decent amount of videos, so I need 50 photos a month. That would only cost me $100 a month, not as a business, as an individual. Oh, that doesn't sound too bad. Did I forget to mention that A, you don't get access to all of their photos in this tier, and B, that you don't even get the highest definition versions of these photos? I understand for businesses and companies to be charged more. It reminds me of WinRAR, which is free for individuals, but when companies use it, they are required to pay. That makes sense, and it's kept them afloat for decades now. And I also understand that this is kind of a way to bypass any attribution, which I don't like, but at least the people making these are getting paid, right? Right? Oh, okay, so for one photo being used by someone with a plan, I make $3. That's not bad, but hold on. As their credits increase, I make less money, like a lot less money. And wait, aren't most of the people who would be using Adobe stock in large amounts going to be corporations or businesses that can afford the 350 credits per month, making my $3 go to 33 cents? Oh, well, me then. Now hold on, because it actually gets worse, and the next reason is the actual reason I made this video. Because imagine, you are going out of your way to buy someone's photo from them, something they made themselves, and even though it can feel a little expensive at times, at least you can rest easy knowing that a portion of your money is in the hands of a fellow creative, trying to make it the same way that you are. Now, imagine that I just f***ing lied, bitch! Now entering the ring, artificial intelligence! So the last several years have been really interesting when it comes to technology and specifically AI. Here's some great videos to watch on the topic just for your viewing pleasure. I know, I'm very kind. But one area that got hit really hard in this category is stock photos. And I mean every single website that does stock photos now either has a section dedicated to AI generated slop or just has it sitting right next to the real pictures. Spot the difference, idiot. Here's the thing. As I stated in my first video back, I have experience in working with AI, specifically AI generated art. I understand the technology behind this and how extremely cheap and cost effective it is. Stock photo libraries are being flooded with low quality, nonsensical slop. Why? Well, think of it this way. What if a corporation could take all the data they already have, feed it into a machine, spit out different variations of the same photo which was taken by a man trying to feed his family, and make those show up before his does? Now, this is just speculation because I'm not trying to get sued, but it would make a lot of sense if they tried to push out the real photos in favor of AI photos that they get 100% of the revenue from, despite not being responsible for the data, i.e. actual human work, that made it. Adobe has tried to say that they pay people for having their work fed into the machine, but no matter how hard I look, I cannot find any numbers of how they're actually paying people for this. Earn in new ways. AI is changing everything. Stay ahead of the curve by earning income in new ways through Adobe's extensive ecosystem. Okay, what does that mean? And you know what? I don't know if it even matters if you pay them and they give their consent. It's the principle of the thing that matters most. A couple years ago, a channel I really like, Corridor Digital, attempted to make an AI-generated anime-inspired rock, paper, scissors video. It doesn't look very good, but that's not really what's important. They used a model that skimmed off of other people's work, so they did a sequel where they paid someone to give them the data to feed into the model. Hey, so, like, why wouldn't you just... I don't know, let me think for a second. Pay that person to make the video? Like, yes, it would take much longer and would be much more expensive. It would also be better, and you would have far more control over what you can do with it. Like, if taking the time to do something is what is stopping you from doing it, maybe you shouldn't be doing it. And it's even worse because the idea for the video is solid and works without needing any AI bullshit in there at all. That idea, which I'm certain was created by a human, is super funny and cool. And I love Corridor so much. They made some of my favorite videos on the entire internet, but it was such an odd moment. And then they doubled down and then they tripled down. Despite the backlash, despite the loss of subs. What's so interesting to me and why I bring this story up is that years later, Nico, the co-founder of Corridor, would take the same technology, which has and had been previously used to steal from artists, to empower them by making one of the most powerful green screen key solutions ever made. Why did he do that? Because he cared about making the tedious, non-artist parts easier to overcome so that we could get to the cool, creative, and expressive stuff faster. The difference with what Adobe and all these other companies are doing is that they do not want to make artists' lives easier. That is not what they are for, and it is never what they have stood for. They make money. That's it. That's why I have to pay for Premiere for the rest of my life rather than just buying it. So flooding these libraries with these lifeless, nonsensical, and often boring photos makes them money. So they'll keep doing it. And I honestly think if they get enough training data to make these pictures not look like hot ass, they might just stop letting people upload altogether, because then they'd have to pay them. And that doesn't make them any money. One more thing I want to say before I go is that AI is going to get better and better. So people whose argument against AI is that it looks bad, that cannot be the basis of your argument, because tech moves fast and soon it'll probably look fine. Just look at how it's evolved already. But we, as human beings, like art because another human put the time into making it. Here's the reality, and I know this sounds insane coming from silly TV static guy, but listen, we are all gonna die. Like, every one of us. But what is kind of cool about that is that it makes time our most valuable asset we can have, especially because none of us know how long we have it. Choosing to spend what could at any time be your last moments on Earth creating something with your hands, a painting, a song, a YouTube video, a sculpture, sand art, metalwork, stickers, clothing, food, drinks, fragrances, games, movies, books, all of it, with the knowledge that the time you are spending doing that will never come back. That is what makes human art valuable. That is what connects humanity and why so many communities start by simply connecting with the same piece of art. And every brushstroke, every click of a camera, every type of a keyboard is informed and molded by every single thing you've ever done. AI art is not art. It is a pale imitation of the majesty of human expression and creativity. And at the end of the day, it is worthless. So don't fucking spend your money on them, okay? Okay, I think you got the point. Well, that's about all the time we have for today, so if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go ask my Alexa to play fart noises.
Hello, Gryffiti.
Oh, hello, dear.